Hello and welcome to Dark Souls 3. Obviously, a huge FromSoft fan that I am, gonna be kind of doing Bloodborne and Dark Souls together, while I'm also playing Lords of the Fallen, the 2023 remake or whatever the hell kind of game that's supposed to be. I'm kind of in between. I haven't really started it yet. I just picked it up due to the holiday sale. I gave it a little bit of a shot on Xbox, and it was like at the very beginning when it was just coming out. So I heard the game has kind of gotten better over time. So maybe I will consider a stream on that one or making videos of it, so we can kind of see the process of how I learn Soul games as they happen. But I think that'd be pretty fun. Obviously, Dark Souls has been out for a hot minute, so I don't really need to go into detail about what this game is or what it's about. The only Souls game that I don't have on the channel is 2, and I am going to go after 2 for sure. I don't know why. I mean, the Scholar of the First Sin really just didn't take home with me, like Dark Souls 1 or 3 does. More because I guess Dark Souls 2 is kind of its own little thing, and Souls 3 has a lot of references to the first game. It's also a continuation slash ending to the Dark Souls trilogy. So, you know, I have to play it. It's just one of my favorite games, like, ever. That's not named Final Fantasy or of the such. So in the Bloodborne, we are kind of doing like a guided experience. But for Dark Souls 3, because it has been out for so long, and, you know, it's just one of those timeless games that will never cease to not have its place in the world. I don't think I really need to say a lot about it that people already don't know. Obviously, you can see that I have a bunch of characters. Some of which I've been trying to give a go at different builds and whatnot, and I'm just not finding success on these later builds. The Evelina Oro one, that one I am using, or was using, for the kind of Let's Play walkthrough on the channel already, but I was doing a YouTube live stream of the game, and I don't know, I guess it was really choppy, and like the way that I want to produce the videos is kind of doing justice for these older games. So I kind of just want to pay homage, redo it, but in a fun and unique way this time, and kind of just saying that I'm going to run a build that I've never done, which there are plenty of builds that I've never done in Dark Souls, Elden Ring, and all that kind of stuff, because they're just, like I said, they're very time-consuming games, and, you know, replaying them with doing different weapons, abilities, or going after certain items, restrictions, it's always a fun little challenge to be presented with the already challenging experience of playing a Soulsborne game. But for this run, I am going to opt for a dexterity build with, you know, obviously high stamina and high HP. And in the way of, I want to use polearms. So I am not really familiar with like halberd usage or spear usage in these in the Souls games, because I am more of a blunt weapon, so like, you know, the Morning Star or the mace, the heavy swords such as, like, you know, the claymores and all that, or just basically the straight swords and shield kind of version. And that's kind of how I play like my Elder Scrolls games too and stuff like that. So huge fan of just like, you know, the basic militia infantry kind of guy, heavy armor and whatnot kind of role. Magic, I've dabbled into magic like a couple years ago. One of my Elden Ring playthrough is of a magic character, so check that one out if you wish, because I thought I did pretty well. And magic is just, once you get that build going properly, it is just devastating. It is so good. But I would like to try out like kind of like a spear skill instead of, you know, the normal dual swords or knife or bandit kind of run. So I want to go with that low hitbox and trying to challenge myself to see if I can stand up, you know, and not use a shield really to kind of hide behind or anything like that. So we'll see. I'm going to play this game in offline mode. If I do need to go online mode, I will do that. We are just going to go ahead and start a new game and watch the opening cutscene.
Yes, indeed. It is called Lothric, where the transitory lands of the Lords of Cinder converge. In venturing north, the pilgrims discover the truth of the old words. The fire fades, and the lords go without thrones. When the link of fire is threatened, the bell tolls, unearthing the old lords of Cinder from their graves. Aldrich, saint of the deep, Farron's undead legion, the Abyss Watchers. And the reclusive lord of the profaned capital. Yon the giant. Only in truth, the lords will abandon their thrones. And the unkindled will rise. Nameless, accursed undead, unfit even to be cinder. And so it is that ash seeketh embers.
Gotta love it. Gotta love it. The speaker of that, I think she's Gaia's voice actress for God of War, the original God of Wars. Very cool. Just kind of brings it all back, right? A name. Okay. So, didn't quite really think about this one. For this one, I guess we will just continue along with the spear thing here and just go with Raynie from my little Historia game. Now, I like playing as, the female characters are pretty cool because every female character that is kind of introduced in these Souls games have all been like the shit, and I think a lot of the male archetypes are good for like the villainous roles and stuff like that, but female roles in the Souls games are tremendous. I mean, I think we love all of them, Lucatil and, the Shrine Maidens and just Anri of Astora. I mean, we just got a bunch to name off, but obviously our Lord and Savior, praise the Sun, Solaire is probably the best male character in the entire Souls series. I'll go with young. Okay, so for the class, so we do kind of want to start with high dex, but the issue is that I am not going to be able to start off with a spear run quite yet, because in order to get the spear, we have to do a couple of things. Buy it from Greerat once we get to him. So I want to be comfortable with something that I know I'm going to use for the long haul. Definitely not a sorcerer. Assassin is a very interesting start. It does have like good stats all around, and I think I don't ever have played as one. Favorite sorceries in addition to thrusting swords. Yeah, it comes with the spook already. I don't ever recalling ever choosing this one. Thief, I've given Thief a good try. Pretty cool with Thief. Their dex is pretty high to start, and they come with a lower level, so it's easier to kind of just level up. Once we get the souls for it. And that high luck stat already to start out with is pretty good, along with also having stats to use a bow, which I do want to use bows to kind of draw away attention and stuff like that. And it comes with a bandit knife, okay. Herald, that's what I'm running in the other one, and I didn't really like it at all. Faith is just not for me. I gave Faith a try, and there's like 1 or 2 spells that I really care about, and they're not even that great. So, don't know why Faith doesn't have much justice to it in Dark Souls 3, but oh well. Warrior, yeah, no. And the Knight. Knight has always been a favorite for everybody. I think I will go with the Thief. We will work our way to a spear / halberd. The soul is fine. I mean, it's the only thing that I ever really do pick. Picking the white branch, you will automatically have peace with the giant. So if you don't want to deal with the arrows or going up to him and talking to him, once we get into that part, obviously choose that. The black fire bombs are also a great choice because there are many things that are weak to fire. We have the life ring sucks. The blessings aren't that great. Fire gem is also pretty good to keep if you're trying to make a weapon fire, but we get those pretty easily. And they actually have a chance to drop off the normal enemies anyway, so that's a waste. Screw the rusted gold coin. Those are only for if we're trying to farm for something pretty early in the game, off of the Lothric Knights, I would guess. We're not doing invasions or anything like that, so we don't need that. Completely wasted. So yeah, we'll just go with Sovereign the Soul. Let's see here. Probably just load favorite. Yep. Okay. We'll change the hair up at least. We'll go for more of a brunettish and something that screams a Spear Lady back up. Can never go wrong with the braid. Long hair. I just don't think they do female cuts justice with these games. Which is fine. I mean, you know, we wear armor and stuff like that, so it's going to cover up the majority of it anyway. short. We can go longer. Thinking short and straight, why not? Pupil colors, we will go for a... Let's give her kind of like a teal color. Cosmetics, don't need to worry about that. Alright, brighten the lips up a bit there. Tattoos and marks. And I've tried this stuff before, it's not appealing, to be honest. Never really get to see it anyway. Okay, so Raynie, Thief, Sovereignless Soul. That is our look. Build, appearance, got it. Let's see here. Physique. Body here? Nope. I thought they had... Oh, it's not like Souls 1 where you just make them fat or not, or skinny. It's kind of weird. Alright, something that I love about Dark Souls 3 than I do more about Bloodborne is that I think the FPS is perfect, especially on the PS5. I don't know if it's faster or what, but the experience has been tremendous. Yeah, this is a game, it's timeless. I mean, I will run it forever. You know, I do want to get like a Skyrim playthrough on here as well. Kind of restart that and just kind of play through, have a little conversation, I don't know, really talk to myself or whatever, I don't know. It's just... this is just a good time. So not really looking to do much with the run other than just getting everything that I know to get, achieve an ending at some point, and take on the DLC, because I've actually only done the DLC once, way like a couple years ago. So I'm not really that expert with, you know, dealing with the Dragon Madir or all of the little DLC bosses, the Demon Prince, and all that stuff. So I've only seen them one time. I remember Sister Freya, whatever. See, I don't even know. She was a monster, along with her father, brother, whatever the hell was going on with all that. That was kind of insane. I remember struggling so bad with getting that moving. So then I actually did a magic character for the DLC, so maybe I struggled because of that. I don't know. I went out of my normal little melee ranged combat that I usually love to play with, kind of my play style. So taking a look, weight ratio, I think under 25% is when we get the fastest roll. I don't really remember now. Let's check. I could never really tell with Souls 3, like you can in the other two, how fast you can roll. I have to, yeah. I think it's under 25%. But the shield is good because it has a little bit of physical reduction, even though you should never even be getting hit anyway, so you just take it off. And just kind of two-hand this blade. So again, it's just like with Bloodborne, just kind of, yep. Just counterattack, let them take a swing at you, counterattack. I don't think I've ever really played with like a parry build either. I don't know, there's so many things I want to try. Just kind of break out of my comfort zone. But I think doing spears and halberds, if I end up loving them, will come through for that. So I like to take those off. Put that there. Just so I don't accidentally pop them. So the idea is the same, just like my Bloodborne run. We are, you know, going to play it cautiously. You don't need to play Souls at a frantic pace unless you're going for like some kind of speedrunner stuff, but I'm not a speedrunner, so it doesn't matter to me. And yeah, I don't worry about stuff like that. Check your sides, check your corners, make sure you read the messages as you go. Kicking is really good for knocking away shielded enemies stuff and then setting them up for a little backstab. The cool thing about Souls 3 is that this is where like the weapon arts kind of began. So like in Elden Ring, you know, you get your little God, I can't remember what they're called now. Put so many hours in Elden Ring, I forgot what they're called. Pretty much the weapon arts though, but yeah. Up here we have a lizard that's really hard to fight. Generally should stay away from this guy. When he gets in that stagger, I should take the option to give him a little bit of my mind there. Probably not going to make it. Oh. That's actually kind of funny. I wasn't expecting to make that. Yeah, super dangerous fight though on that. Beginners, you know, kind of take your time with them. Honestly, I was just like really rushing through this guy, so I don't like the beginning too much because it's just kind of, you know. But once we actually get going, I do kind of enjoy it a lot. As always, be careful with dropping off from high platforms because you do take minor chip damage. Souls especially, for some reason. Probably because we're just brittle ash. Brittle-boned undead folk. Everyone keeps talking about Bloodborne remake, man. Where are these Souls remakes at? For real. You want to see me get 1, 2, and 3? I would spend $300. Easy. Just get me some remake work of Dark Souls and we're good. Yeah, and this is one of the Souls games that I'm actually really proud of my Platinum Trophy with, because it was a nightmare to get all of the stuff you needed. Because, you know, you have to get all the rings, all the weapons, everything like that, and you have to do the fucking, the covenants or whatever, and you have to, like, get certain items to progress your ranking in that covenant, and let me tell you, the amount of time I spent on the Bone Guys in Carthus and the frickin' Silver Knights up in, you know, in Anolondo, it was an experience to behold. I still have that character. That was the green-eyed guy in my character creation. Called that man Solaire, so yeah, it was not the greatest experience in the world, but I had to get it done. And that's without multiplayer as well, so I went the hard way. I mean, so even with high luck, we're not really dropping much of anything. Which is kind of sad. Usually at some point, some of these guys, like, straight up drop, like, souls or, you know, whatever. But they haven't dropped nothing for me, so. Oh, well. There is a change in how you do the jumping here. So in like Dark Souls 1, 2, and Bloodborne, you just double tap circle to do like a sprint jump or whatever. You have to click L3 when you do it. Oh, don't fall off, damn. Plunging attack's the same. Kind of check down here, you can see there's a spear guy with the shield and another dude. So we are going to play the same tactics, just kind of use the hills and the high ground to get an advantage of your battlefield. Almost missed the punch. Fire bombs are great for this first encounter, or you can save them for another encounter that we're going to come across. I usually opt to save them unless I really struggle with the first boss. And for this guy, I might, because I'm not used to no shields or ways to get range. Awesome. Okay. So I'm going to go in there a little hindered, I guess, with a little gap in my health bar. The biggest issue that I would take away from fighting that crystal lizard that early will probably be the fact that you get so many souls that if you were to die to these basic dudes, which is not hard at all, fall off the edge because of mistakes in rolling or whatever, or you just die on repeated attempts to this dude without even grabbing your souls, you can lose out on 4,000 souls right out the gate. So probably best to get to the point where you can actually start using your souls to level up, and then go fight the lizard in order to not lose out on those souls, because you should be strong enough to kind of walk without really worrying about these guys and their arrows and spears. So this is the first boss of the game, Udix Gundyr, something like that. Really, that boss is all about just kind of rolling towards the damage. Try not to roll backward, sideways, because those wide sweeping attacks can kind of go through your iframes and connect with you. And then there's like, since we have like basically no poise at all because of our armor style, you're just going to get sent flying. And then when you're trying to get up and all that, that's when he likes to, you know, I guess I don't know. They'll do kind of like a jumping attack that can do some damage, AoE splash, and just connect with you and just kind of take you out. So for the winning the battle, we get the coiled sword. We're going to need that. Every time that you beat a boss in Dark Souls 3, you get what's called Ember. And when you're in Ember status, you can see that we are like glowing red. This gives us a major increase to our health bar, and that's really all it does. I wish it did more like increase our strength, and if it does, great, because I never knew, but either way. And you'll eventually get embers yourself. You can farm them off certain enemies and whatnot. So unlike Dark Souls 1, we do not have to rest at the bonfires, just like Bloodborne as well. You can just light the bonfire and it will automatically be listed in your little places to fast travel. But if you need to, rest at the bonfire, replenish your, your flask here, and then continue on. And Udix went down really fast because the knife that I'm carrying is called the Bandit's Knife, and it has an innate additional effect of bleed, which is you can see at 30. So you read it on the additional effects tab. It is bleed, poison, and frost. Frost was introduced in this game, so it's very, very cool. Bleed is what it's always has been. Once you hit for a certain amount of damage with that bleed, it starts doing what's called bleed buildup, and bleed buildup will just proc for a percentage of damage on enemies. So very useful for taking out those big heavy dudes. Anything that bleeds will basically take giant chunks of damage as long as you keep on the offensive there. So this is an instance of a shield man. Usually I get a chime from one of them, but yeah, I'm just not getting good enough luck with that. Homeward Bones, those are good for everything. That will take us back to a recent bonfire or the shrine. I would just keep those in your inventory in the last tab because you're going to need them. Down this way is some stuff. Yeah, really, all you got to do with the broken shield dudes is just keep hitting through it. This is Sparta. See you later. And it'll just break their defense, just like the wooden plank dudes from Bloodborne. So, do with that with what you will. Or you could just kick it, and it'll set them up for an easy riposte. We're going to get a shield up there, but let's go ahead and deal with these guys first, because they like to kind of sneak up on you every now and again. That is so disappointing I didn't get a Sacred Chime to start out the game. It's happened in my last 3 runs, so... No, it's not guaranteed every time, but still. It'd be nice to see it every now and again. East and West Shield, it's shit at everything. Stability sucks. It's worse than the shield that we already started out with, so if you need a shield and you just want something, there you go. It's just a wooden shield that can, I guess block something better than the others? I don't know. Yeah, fire. Looks like fire, lightning, and dark. So the wooden shields are generally good against magic. They just absorb it better, I guess. And then like the iron ones, they're just good for like physical and stuff like that. So this asshole up here, this is a sword master. He's just an Uchi Katana asshole. And there is a good way to cheese him, like multiple ways that you can, but I'm going to try this method again. Because I don't want to deal with his ass right now. Yeah, he likes to kind of play games like that. Idiot. So wait for the souls to pop before you do this, because we want to make sure that he's dead. So anytime we kill a important NPC or anything of the sort, any humanoid enemy, stuff like that, they will have guaranteed loot. So what you need to do is quit out of the game. Go ahead and jump back in. And then any of the items that they dropped while falling down will respawn into the point that they were initially met. So there it is. And this will be the Master's Attire along with the Master Gloves and the Uchi Katana. So I'm going to opt for a faster roll. So I want to go ahead and put on the Master's Attire. There we go. And now we're doing the fastest roll that you can achieve in the game. Because with my armor putting me up to 35%, we were doing the slower medium roll. But with this, we are achieving under 25% and rolling for a much faster pace and giving us the most amount of iframes you can achieve right now at this point without any rings to help out. A gate that is locked. But what this sets you up for is you can be kind of one-shotted by a lot of things because your armor sucks. But armor ratings and stuff like that in Souls games are just negligible. Honestly, it's really just a game about setting up counterattacks, not learning moveset or learning movesets, not getting greedy and stuff like that. So in the inventory belt, you want to go ahead and put the embers in here. You don't want to put them in your quick items because you can accidentally use them when you start panicking and start mashing buttons. And these are the embers. So once you die, you lose your ember status until you fight and kill a boss in the Dark Souls 3 world, or if you beat someone at PvP. That's the only ways that you can recover ember in the natural way. Other than that, you will have to farm those embers from enemies that drop them, or find them throughout the world as common or as loot drops. So come around the corner for another bone, drop down here to get another ember, walk up behind the dog, and get off a crit. So if we came up the side path, the dog would have ambushed us, and the idea is that you probably would have panic rolled off to the side and down the hill into the abyss, or it would have kind of snapped at you and pushed you down there. So there's really nothing else on the top part. So what we want to do is go in here. This is Firelink Shrine. You can see more of the battlefield from here. These are the tree giant dudes from Dark Souls 2. When we run that game one day, I will go ahead and show those dudes off. This gate cannot be opened until we buy a very expensive key that we kind of don't need to do, like, at all, to be honest, but it's there for side content. So running up that side of the tree and doing the jump just like I did will jump you, and you can kind of do like a rooftop skip here, because you're not supposed to be able to access this point until you get through the tower, up there, You'll walk across the little bridge, fall down, and then kick that ladder down, which will give you access up to this point. And that can take a while because the key that we need for that door is like 20,000 souls. So you'll be spending quite a bit. And you can already see that we do have like 9,000 right out the gate, along with me popping the souls that we already earned. That was the Sovereignless Soul that gave me 2,000 easy ones right out the gate. So it's up to you if you want to pick the Sovereignless Soul. It's only going to give you 2 grand. We can make that just by killing the lizard. So it's completely up to you. Coming up this route, you can actually use the bow cheese on the Master Swordsman if you don't want to deal with him. Other than that, if you got the parry timing down, you can parry his Uji Katana swipes and stuff like that. Completely up to you how you want to handle him, but I like that method because I think it's safe-ish. Because you can kind of guide him to the entrance of Firelink. He can't follow you, and you can play with this AI. But if he gets like 1 or 2 swipes off at you, you're dead. Like, it don't matter. You're dead. So come around here and just kind of take it slow. The camera in Dark Souls loves to kind of spin around when you're hugging walls. And yep, as you can see, because it's trying to follow the character, so it can kind of like pull in ways you don't want, and it can easily make you dive bomb straight off of high places.
Me, pickled pea. Me, pumperum.
Pickle Pea and Pumperum are 2 crows that are making a reintroduction to the Dark Souls universe. You trade them items to get items, just like the other one. I think that was renamed all of a sudden. I don't know. I don't believe Extra Life Wiki, but hey, it is what it is. So, yeah, you trade them items. Look up on the wiki on Google what you should trade to get certain things. We'll do that a lot later. I'm not really in the need for it now. Most important thing to grab up here is this Estus Shard. Estus Shards will be given to the blacksmith in order to upgrade our flask. This was a hidden wall. There is no indication of where hidden walls are at unless you're playing online mode. And if somebody left a message in your world, or if you come across one that says like strike here or attack here or something like that, or roll or whatever. So you can roll through it, you can attack it, you can kick it. As long as you do any kind of animation next to it, it's going to pop the door and reveal it. So coming down this way, you want to go ahead and dive bomb off the edge. You're going to take damage and open this chest. Here we will get the covetous silver serpent ring. Jesus. Rings are heavy. They will max your weight ratio out pretty bad. We do want to maintain under at least 25% so we can still pull off these fast rolls. So you're going to have to kind of choose. If you can play with a medium roll, great. If you can play with a faster roll, that's even better. If you want a fat roll, that's fine too. You can play this game any way you want. Because like I said, the name of the game in Dark Souls is setting up for counterattacks and reading movesets so that you can roll around it, roll through it, and, you know, give yourself the advantage in the battlefield. But that ring and that Estus Shard are not supposed to be gotten until we get those 20,000 souls in order to go up the tower. So we actually got some pretty early items. Very powerful ring for this early stage in the game as well, because we are just going to get more souls, and more souls equals more items and more level ups. So keep falling down, keep losing HP. These are the thrones of the Cinder Lords that we have to go take down and restore, which is like the whole point of this game. Holy King Lothric, last hope of his line. Watchers of the Abyss. Yorm, the Giant of the Profane Capital. And we saw all these dudes in the opening game trailer. So very cool. Ludlith, the Exiled. And Saint Aldrich of the Deep. So if you look at loot lists, you can see that there's someone sitting there, so he's already here. Go ahead and talk to him. He's a very important NPC.
O thou unkindled, and a seeker of lords, I am Ludleth of Corland. Look not in bewilderment as I say. I linked the fire long ago, becoming the Lord of Cinder. If substantiation be thy want, set thine eyes upon my charmed corpse, this sad cadaver. No need to be coy. Have a closer look. Knowest thou of our purpose? 5 thrones will take 5 lords as kindling for the linking of the fire. The fast fading flame must be linked to preserve this world. A reenactment of the first linking of the fire, so it is. I became a lord of Cinder. I may be but small, but I will die a colossal. Knowest? Now.
So Lulith of Corlin here drops some pretty big lore bombs. You know, he's the first to ever kindle the flame, I guess. I'm not really going to be like a lore buff on these kind of things. I just take it as I go. I watch YouTube videos. I kind of read about the wikis because I'm really interested in this universe. It's all fantasy, so make up whatever the fuck you want, to be honest. But I am very interested in the stuff, and I do kind of pick up pieces of that and use those tidbits to my advantage, you know, and my knowledge overall of the Souls universe. This dude is basically the crestfallen warrior. He's just going to whine and complain. We'll go ahead and talk to him anyway. He does give you stuff over time.
Ah, another one roused from the sleep of death. Well, you're not alone. We unkindled are worthless. Can't even die right. Gives me conniptions. And they'd have us seek the lords of Cinder and return them to their moulding thrones. But we're talking true legends, with the metal to link the fire. We're not fit to lick their boots. Don't you think? What a sick joke. Asking us to seek the lords of Cinder and return them to their mold. We're talking truth. What a...
So as it is with all Souls titles, you want to go ahead and exhaust all the dialogue to make sure that you get every piece. Very useful NPC here. That's basically the shop. We don't need to go on an excursion tour here because there are no NPCs to speak of right now off to the sides just yet, but when we do, we will start making a viable loop in order to make sure that we are hitting on all objectives at all times. Over here is the God Master Andre.
Well, I am Andre. I serve at this shrine as a humble smith, forging weapons. You're in search of the Lords of Cinder, I trust. A toilsome journey, I wager. Let me smith you weapons. I am a smith. Such is my purpose.
Go ahead and exhaust his dialogue.
Weapons and protectionist, but when overused, when their durability is low, repair becomes a necessity. Use a powder, or simply rest at a bonfire, but should chance impel them break, I'll hammer them back into... They take no pleasure in breaking, so
So pretty much as a bar underneath your weapons, if you let that deplete down to 0, it breaks, and you will have to go to the blacksmith in order to fix it. Ways to mitigate that, though, is, like you said, to use repair powders. If you're kind of going on a long journey, I don't ever think I've ever used one before. There's also a magic for that, but I never use that either because generally the way that the levels are set up, you don't really have a need to kind of do that unless you just completely neglect sitting at a bonfire. So unless you're doing a challenge restriction run, that should never be an issue.
there are 2 ways to smith weapons. Simple reinforcement is one. Reinforcement is straightforward. It's strengthened. Infusion is a more advanced form of smithing. Reinforcement requires titanite, and infusion bring the stones. In battle, your weapons are your only.
Yep, so talk to him twice for a gesture. You need all the gestures for an achievement, so there's one. Yeah, so infusing and just basically making your weapon stronger. That's reinforcing your weapon and infusing. We are going to do a lot of that kind of stuff throughout the game, so we don't need to explain that. But those are two methods that you can use to make weapons stronger.
Infusing weapons with gems requires a special kind of coal. My humble coals won't be any use infusing more unusual. I know, it's an awful shame, but it's all I have. Oh, believe it or not, I'm quite thin-skinned.
When we come across those gems, more explanation.
By the by, if you find any Estus shards, but they can be used to reinforce either without those flasks, and they'll always stay with you. Huh? Weapons and protect, but it's a...
And that's it for his dialogue. So now we can go ahead and reinforce the Estus flask because we do have a shard. When you do that, make sure you go into the allotment and you can kind of play with this. If you are a magic user or you like using weapon arts, then you're going to want the blues. If you just need HP overall, you're going to want the yellow-red mixture. I just keep a ratio of like half sometimes because, but in the beginning of the game, I usually favor more Estus because you get hit a lot and for high damage. There should not be ever really a need for the blue one just yet because there's not really a weapon skill right now that is going to be useful for early game that you can't get around with your already starting blue meter there. So we'll go ahead and just do 5 of those. I want the most heals. We don't need a repair. Infusing, we don't need to infuse a weapon, but if you do, and you picked up the fire gem, you can go ahead and already infuse the fire into the starting weapon of your class. You'll have to find the other ones throughout the world or buy them. And then same thing for your weapons here. Titanite shards are going to be largely used in order to upgrade the versions of your weapons from +1 to basically +15 or 10, whatever it is in this game. I think it's 10. They got lazy with the 15 part. So, yeah. But we will find those throughout the world for sure, and enemies will drop them. This is the Shrine Maiden.
Make thine acquaintance. I am but a humble
Or handmaid, I mean.
of the shrine. Weapons, I've lots of little thing, and yes, Ashen One fetched souls, as is how.
That's the idea. Everybody's undead.
Ashen One, if my wares are not to thy satisfaction, bring me with ash. I'll fashion me. Is it not out?
Umbral Ash, she's telling you that if you find a key item called Umbral Ash, bring it to her and you will unlock more stuff for the shop.
Knowest thou of that soppy gossip that cordial intrusion layeth the and so thou art in need of a soapstone, and then thy pockets will overflow with souls to trade to me.
She's telling you to buy the soapstone for cooperative mode and stuff like that. So when you help out buddies, you get portions of souls as well from killing bosses.
Ashen One, if my way bring with is it?
And that's it for her dialogue. So when you go in here, you're going to see that she has a bunch of items. You can sift through the tabs here to kind of single them out, whatever you're trying to buy. For now, the embers are limited. So, they're really expensive too. I don't consider them worth buying until endgame or until we get to a spot where we can start grinding out souls. Repair powder is infinite. As long as it doesn't have like a number attached to the bottom right corner of its picture, that means that it's pretty much infinite. Okay. I would probably suggest really if you have extra souls that you're not using to buy fire bombs for the early areas because they are going to be really useful for what's coming. Definitely buy a torch at some point because we're going to need that for a future area, and generally just having a torch is a good idea for those dark lit areas. And if you want to dabble into co-op or online play, you're going to need to buy the white soap sign, which is whatever. More bones, they're very expensive. The prism stones are used to mark your way, just like the shining coins in Bloodborne. You get some free, some early spells, you get some weapons here. And we don't have the ability to buy the spear just yet. We can get a halberd, but I need strength in order to use it, so that ain't gonna happen for a minute. And what else we got? Some shields and some chainmail if you need some armor, along with arrows too. So yeah, we will get across all this stuff when it comes up. But the most important sequence that we're going to have to do is talk to the Shrine Maiden here. So she is a fire keeper, and she's going to tell us to basically put the coiled sword into the bonfire area there, and that is going to open up the entire world of Dark Souls 3 to where we have to start, completing the mission of bringing the Lords of Cinder back to the throne, and hopefully with the chances of linking the fire once again to continue the cycle. And she is also the only way that we will be able to level up our souls for the majority, if not 99% of the game. But that's the intro to Dark Souls 3. I am looking forward to continuing this run, and I really, really hope that I do get into spear using and halberd using if that's what it comes down to, because I just generally want to, enjoy the game in a different way that I never have. So this is going to be real interesting, kind of faster, low armor, not really using shields or anything like that. It's just going to be pure knowing the moveset skill kind of run, and we'll go from there. So thank you for watching. We will continue in